Hey everybody, it's KD with another episode of Girl on Fire. I guess you could call this a special episode. With me today, I have Amy and Ann, who are like the administrators, whatever you want to call them, of the lesbian book club. And they also happen to be my longtime beta readers in a couple of books, actually. So this is a good thing. We're going to talk about Big Girl Pill, which is my latest book, and they can kind of offer maybe some insight and stuff into a lot of things that they read that you guys maybe didn't get to read, on things like that. But as always, we're going to start off with my cat's about to be an asshole. I'm just letting everybody know. And here he goes.
Oh, Finn.
Say hello, Finn. Oh, he's being shy. Okay. Okay. This is asshole Finn, everybody. He always wants attention when mommy's busy. And he's probably going to come chew on my hair, so I'm going to put him down. Come on. I'll find your brother. Okay. Without further ado, we do have a hot sauce we're going to do. Unfortunately, Anne did not get hers in the mail, and she said she had a story concerning that, so maybe we'll hear a little bit. And Amy is a wuss, so she may cry. I'm not going to cry because it's just a mustard-based sauce. It doesn't really have anything extraordinarily hot in it, but I'm hoping it'll taste good because, yeah, it's Dick's. Dirty Dick's. So he has some pretty good hot sauce. So we'll see. Okay. So Anne, tell us the story about why you don't have the hot sauce.
I ordered the hot sauce on Amazon. It wasn't available on Amazon Canada, so I had to order it from the US. In that same week, I received a package from Amazon. The box was this big, and it had bubble wrap. And in it was a bunch of cartridges for my ink pen, and it was all wrapped in bubble wrap. So I thought, I'm sure my sauce is going to come in about the same way. Well, the right people at this sauce company put my sauce in an envelope.
They didn't do the bubble wrap on it?
Just a slightly padded envelope. Wow. And so when it got to my place, the sauce had exploded inside the envelope. The envelope was sticky and smelly. And there was no way I was tasting this. So I ordered up again, and it hasn't come in. And I wanted to use Amazon Prime, but for Amazon Prime, this product for me was not available. So
that sucks.
I didn't get it.
Mine came in this, but it had some bubble wrap around it. And it did come in the envelope. It came in a padded envelope, but it had the bubble wrap around it as well. So
no box, no bubble wrap, just an envelope.
Maybe they're prejudiced against Canadians.
I guess so.
That could be it, yeah. So we're going to wait for Amy to open hers.
They probably thought you were going to put it on your poutine.
Oh,
that might be good.
I would never.
Let me see.
See, and that's why they tried to make sure you couldn't do it.
This should be good. I don't think
you said there's nothing hot in there, but there's habanero peppers.
But Amy, it has pears, peaches, pineapples, brown sugar,
and
apple juice, and mustard.
What's the first ingredient?
Habanero, but you're not really going to taste it because there's all that fruit in it, is what I'm trying to tell you. So it's not going to be too bad.
I'm sorry, I don't have a clear spoon either.
Okay, so we'll just have to deal, everybody. I have a little metal spoon here, but I'll show everybody how much I'm getting. This is a mustard-based sauce.
Was I supposed to shake it?
That would probably be a good idea. It's by Dirty Dick's. It's called Dick's Caribbean Dreams. Baja style mustard based hot sauce. It has, like I said, hot herbs, pineapples, peaches, apple cider vinegar, mustard, apple juice, brown sugar, honey, and fresh ground spices. I don't know what those spices are, but it's good. Ooh, it does. See, it may not be that bad.
Oh,
They have some really good sauce. Okay. So here we go. I do a little dollop. See, everybody, that's how much I got. Let's see how much Amy puts on there. Probably just a, oh my God.
Not
Oh,
that's not much.
that's not much. You can do a little bit more. Okay, that's
Oh,
good.
okay.
That's good.
more.
Okay. That's about, no,
No,
that's good.
that's fine. That's fine, Amy. Don't hurt yourself.
Okay.
Okay, there. There.
Well, good luck with that. But
Now I got to tell y'all.
what?
I got to tell. Rose is sitting next to me, waiting for me to start crying.
Well, I'm
She
waiting
took
for you to
Emotional
start
support?
crying.
milk away too.
I think you'll be okay. Okay. Let's go for it. Ooh. This is really good. This is really, really good. Okay, you can taste the fruit right off. It does have a little, I don't think it has enough kick to, it's a little sting, but it goes away fairly quickly.
Oh,
But it's very good. It's kind of tangy. It's not a big mustard taste. It's more of a fruity taste. The mustard is like in the background. What do you think, Amy?
I like that spice.
Yeah,
Whatever it
I
is we're
don't know.
smelling, I really like that spice. When I first tasted it, it was really nice, and then it got hot. I don't know what you're talking about. It went away really fast because no, it didn't.
Well, it did in my mouth. But I wonder what those spices are. That's really good. It's a very,
Here, let me have her smell it. She might be able to tell.
it's a very different flavor. Maybe turmeric,
Cumin?
cumin.
She's nodding at cumin.
Okay, that could be turmeric, maybe. Since it's
She's nodding
Caribbean.
at cumin,
Okay,
which
like
makes
that,
sense
though.
because I really like cumin.
It's really tasty. Okay, I'll definitely be using this. I don't know what I'm going to use it on, but because it's not your everyday hot sauce because it's mustard based and it has particular spices in it. So you may be able to use this in like maybe soups and stews or something like that. Not on eggs. I don't see anybody liking their eggs tasting like this. But
No, but like I could see it with some pork.
I was gonna say that. I was just gonna say that. Yeah. Like yeah, any kind of pork really. Like if you do like pork loin, pork chops, anything like that. I think that would be really good with it. I wonder how it would do with it, like as a part of a marinade. That would probably be kind of good too.
I just
Okay.
need to dilute it a lot.
Okay, see, that wasn't that painful. It was pretty good. It wasn't that bad. What are you eating?
oh,
Bread.
Oh, oh my God. You really are wolves, huh? Hmm.
I wouldn't lie to you.
Well, I know that. I've known you like forever, so I know that by now. I'm so sorry, Ann, you didn't get to have the experience. That's too bad.
oh, well, if I probably post a little afterthought if I ever
Okay.
get.
Okay. Whenever you get it sometime next week. Okay. All right. So, okay, everybody, we got the little hot sauce tasting over. As most of you know who are going to watch this, my book Big Girl Pill was the book of the month for the book club. So this is why we're going to discuss it in a little bit today, and they're actually going to ask me some questions about it. So you guys can go ahead and fire off of that.
Well, I have a question about your writing process,
Okay.
because I was your beta for your last two books and for the one you're starting now.
Mhm.
And I want to know how you go about writing a book.
Well, I usually I have a board over here, like right next to my desk, that I usually put like character stuff on there. What? I'm sorry, I Instacarted something and the very chipper shopper is sending me a message. But I usually start a board over there, and once I settle on the names, I start with the characters, like I said before. So once I settle on the names, they kind of let me know what they look like, what kind of work they're gonna do, their personalities, things of that nature. And I kind of write it all on this board, divided into sections. Like I keep my main characters at the top and I put the side characters at the bottom. And then I just kind of go from there. It's just like I plop them down and they kind of tell me how they're going to react to whatever situation I put them in. So, and it just goes from there. When I start a chapter, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen in it. I really don't. It's just like once I start writing, it kind of gels together. And then, like, when I start writing the first few chapters, it's just the first few chapters. I have no idea what's going to happen in the middle. I have no idea what's going to happen in the end. But by chapter 5 or 6, I usually have a middle. And I'll go like, okay, this is what I think will happen. And by the time I get to the middle, I have an end, if that makes sense. So I'm very much a pantser. I don't outline. Somehow I'm able to keep track of everything in the process. I don't know, maybe because I get to know the character so well that I don't get lost in all the stuff that's going on. And somehow I'm able to pull the threads together that I'm going to tie up. I'll pull them together, and the ones that I'm going to leave open, I'm able to not necessarily have to go back and go like, okay, what was this character doing or whatever. It just kind of stays with me. It's almost like a movie in a way. It's like if you're watching like your favorite movie and like certain lines in it and and all that stuff. So it's just like I equate it to that because it's just like I know everything about it, and it just seems like there's no way I can get lost. Because as I go along, I know exactly where I want to go.
So with Big Girl Pill, you created Nina and Maya.
Mm-hmm.
You knew they had a thing back in college, and
Uh-huh.
you knew that things were not resolved.
Uh-huh.
You knew that she was getting married, and that Maya was invited to be in the wedding.
Yep.
About after that, did you have an idea that you wanted them back together, or did you have an idea that I guess you were writing a romance, so you thought that at some point they would get back, so the wedding would not happen? Did you all know that before you started, or?
Well, somewhat, but it was like after I created Rachel and kind of threw that in the mix, and having Maya had, slept with Rachel as well. I was kind of teetering there for a little while as to who I was going to make the target of the romance. So, and I was like, but then I was like, I think when it got down to it, I think Rachel was probably a way too much for Maya. I don't think their personalities, they made better friends than anything. So I don't think their personalities would have meshed. And so it was just like, okay, I'm going to leave that alone, because I had intentions once I kind of figured out that there was going to be a Rachel Maya history. I had intention to like muddy the waters a little bit more, because Rachel's a messy person. So yes, I was like, oh, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, no, I think, and I talked to you about it, I think, Amy, and you were like, oh, I don't know if that's a good idea to, have them to be sexual throughout, in the book, instead of off screen,
Well,
in the past.
Because I think there was a point in time that you like right before the dress fitting when
exactly.
Rachel saw her in the bar
Mm-hmm.
and came over, and you wanted to know if it was a good idea for them to revisit. And I was just like, I think that would make it messier.
I really wanted to, but then I thought about it, and I guess she thought about it a little bit, and she was just like, "Nah, let's not do that," you know. So
Yeah,
okay,
I think that at that point in time, she suspected that Maya and Nina still had
yeah,
feelings.
yeah,
And I don't think she would have done that to Nina.
yeah. That's what it came down to. It's just like, I consider her to be. I wouldn't say she's not an ice queen at all, but she's more of she's a big softy on the inside, I guess you could say, especially where it's concerning Nina and family, and people who she calls friends. So yeah, I agree. I don't see her muddying the waters that way, just for the sake of pleasure. I don't see her doing that. So
No, she's a good person. She's kind.
yeah,
She's
she
fiery but
is. Yep.
kind.
Yeah, I agree totally. Yeah.
So when you wrote her, did you know she would steal the scenes as much as she did?
No, and you remember that the thing when she said something about the possum that had the three-pronged penis or something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea where I got that from. And I still to this day, I think I saw it on the Animal Channel or something like that. And it was like, oh,
Just popped into your head.
yes. And I was like, that seems like something Rachel would say. But it was just like, no, I really didn't. It was just like, I knew I wanted her to be kind of fiery. I pictured her as short, a shorter woman, kind of, petite. And I was like, okay, I had to compensate for her being short, with like a huge personality, and it was just like the more I thought about it and the more I wrote her, I was like, okay, I want her in the scenes with Nina to kind of overtake them a little bit. I didn't know she was going to overtake them like she did, So in a way, even though she overtook a lot of the scenes with Nina, I think some of her kind of bled into Nina as well. And that's how she was able, as the book went on, to become stronger and, see who she was and see what she wanted and, and all that. I think Rachel was pivotal to helping Nina,
Rachel
that little push.
definitely
Yeah.
encouraged and led Nina into standing up for herself,
Mm-hmm.
especially where Drew was concerned.
Mm-hmm. And I think Drew, he was initially going to be like a PE teacher. And yeah, he was initially going to be a PE teacher. And I was like, and I think his name was going to be Steve. And I thought about it and I was like, no, I said, Andrew is more white bread and it seems like to really fit him. So I was like, okay, and let's have him be like a kind of nerdy math teacher type, persona, kind of thin and wiry, good, like a cute guy, unassuming. So you wouldn't think, he's kind of controlling because, I wanted to be subtle, about him to where he seemed like, okay, he seems okay, and just drop
half
little
the time
hints.
you think half the time you think he's a good guy and you don't see anything wrong, and he'll turn around and just do something really tiny that makes you go, whoa, wait a minute.
Yes, exactly. Like, whoa, what kind of dude is this? And then how can she just go along? And it was just like she would cave every time he would say, okay, oh, you think so? And so he was very much kind of leading her along.
I have to insert that.
Uh-oh.
I have to insert that because you what you said about Andrew being more white bread is funny because both my father and my brother are named Andrew.
Oh my God, really?
And you were eating white bread just before.
Yes, you were.
Yes, except it's actually French bread. Brioche.
Okay. So yeah.
I heard you say, well, Andrew, because there was one clear villain in that story, and that's Sarah. I didn't see Drew as a villain. I think he was
Me
an
either.
all-around good guy. He's a good guy. He was with a woman who, I guess she played the role of being
Mm-hmm.
led by him.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if he had been with another woman, like more assertive, if he would have, because he wasn't, his intention was not bad.
I don't think he
He,
could have been with another woman who was more assertive. I don't think he
you
would have
know,
even approached her or got involved with somebody like that. Because I think
I
even go ahead, Amy.
yeah, I don't see him as a bad guy,
Uh-uh.
but he definitely he's a guy who feels like he needs to lead in the relationship.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
And I think you know, when they first met, even though all this was off screen, I think all of this, after, she slept with Maya and everything, and she felt like, okay, I need to present myself as this person that's easy, this person that's docile and all that stuff, because I don't want to be that person that I was with Maya anymore. So I want to become
she
this.
got scared. She
Yes.
got scared by the intensity of the feelings.
Yes, exactly. So it was like that was complicated to her. It was easier just to be who her mom wanted and who Drew envisioned her to be. I mean, it was easy, So, and I think I say that a bunch of, it's just less complicated, no confrontation, or anything like that. And, she was used to the little things her mom would say to her. So even though they stung, she was used to it, and she got to a point where she could ignore some of it. And sometimes it would really irk her, but she would kind of swallow it down, even though she really wanted to say things at times. She would kind of swallow it down and she wouldn't. So definitely.
one of the things I noted, one thing she says, Sarah, at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and I wrote it down because this is probably the meanest thing. I mean, if a bigot is a bigot, you expect them to say things about, lesbians or black
Mm-hmm.
people. The worst one is when she was telling her how she should stay with Drew because he tolerated her chubbiness.
Yeah.
This is so offensive. This is
Yes.
the worst. I mean, a bigot's gonna be a bigot, but if your mom says that your body is something to be tolerated,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this is bad. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the meanest thing she said, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It was just like, um, I think because even though it wasn't prevalent, I think we kind of were able to suss out that Nina did have some body image problems. I did, and I think Maya helped her with that a lot. I mean, even
And
though
Rachel too.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So even though I think I envisioned her as like maybe a size 12 or 14 or whatever, and that's average size. I mean, in most people's eyes or whatever. So but if you want to be perfect, you have to be that size 6 or 8, or whatever. You can't be too curvy. Is it 4?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I'm not either of
I
those. I've never been either of those. So
I think that it wasn't Nina that wanted the perfect body. It was her mother.
yes.
Her mother wanted her to have that body. And I think that in some ways, Drew kind of played into that, like
Mm-hmm.
bringing her salad or
Yes.
choosing some of her food choices for her.
Yes. Uh-huh.
But I don't necessarily think that she wanted that size. And
Yes.
so when Maya came and was extremely appreciative of her curves
Mm-hmm.
as she was, I
Mm-hmm.
think that allowed Nina to relax into her own skin and be happy with who she
Mm-hmm.
was.
And as you notice, like the even when they went out to eat, her whole, she would have dessert, whereas before, like when she was out with her mom, she had the So what it was it ex Benedict without the hollandaise or something like that. And
Yeah.
she was like, but she ate it anyway. Or she had, like the oatmeal or,
And
whatever.
the orange juice. The orange juice.
Yeah. So, I mean, it
How
was
can you
just,
not know your daughter doesn't like orange juice?
I think
Really?
she did. She did. But,
She knew though. I mean, Nina said it when she made her drink it. I don't like orange juice, and she didn't care. That's
No,
what
she
it really
didn't.
was.
She didn't
Because
care.
it wasn't about. It's never about Nina. It's all about
Mm-mm.
her and how people perceive her.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I think a lot of times, I didn't, and I hope I created enough of Sarah to where you were able to kind of get a hint of her background a little bit about how she cares so much about appearances. Yes, she was not a good person. I mean, she wasn't inherently evil. I mean, come on. I mean, nobody is. But she cares so much about image and what people thought of her and how her daughter was an extension of that, and okay, they see me a certain way, so they have to see you a certain way. You know, when it comes down to it,
And
I'm not so sure that she was racist or homophobic. Or I think maybe she thought she had to be.
Well,
Does that make
because
sense?
I saw her
she was
as really, I did see her as racist and homophobic, but I thought she didn't see that as bad.
Yeah, that's too. That
It's
too.
her
I think
normal. It's her normal, and
I
she's a
think
good
that
person in her head,
she is so concerned with her social standing,
Mm-hmm.
and that revolves around her church community. And
Mm-hmm.
so, especially in the South, your church community can be extremely conservative,
Yes.
especially, well, we'll say white people churches can be
Mm-hmm.
extremely conservative.
Yes, they can
And
be. Yeah.
so that's where a lot of that could come from. She may
Mm-hmm.
have those feelings, but not really double down on them, except for the fact of how she would look in her community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That hits the nail on the head, I think. So,
And are we allowed to talk about what you're working on right now?
well, I'm blocked at the present time, but yeah, we can talk about it. Definitely. I know it's gonna
I want to
happen.
know.
I know it's gonna happen, but
I want to know
what?
when you were writing Big Girl Pill,
Uh-huh.
when was the point that you knew that Rachel was going to demand her own story? Because I remember, I think Anne and I both were like, when do we get to hear more about her? So I'm kind of wondering when you knew.
Okay. I was Anne, and I don't know if you remember this conversation. I don't think you were a part of it, Amy, but Anne, we were talking, we were, on Messenger, and you were saying something. We were talking about, oh, what type of book Rachel would be a part of, and you were like, oh, maybe it needs to be an older woman, and then maybe erotic, more erotica, I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. And so it's like I went through a lot of things with her, and I was just like, and it was just like, okay, what do you think? Let's do this. And she was more like, no, that doesn't fit me. So it was like, the more I thought about it, I kind of soaked in what Anne had said, and I was like, okay, that might work. Because one, I think we learned that Rachel is a sexual person, um, and she doesn't care who knows it. She's opinionated. She always has something to say. She doesn't care who knows it. So I figured, why not create a character that can meet her toe to toe on everything? So, and I kind of hinted in Big Girl Pill that her past women that she had been in relationships with had told her she was difficult. I kind of dropped that, little nugget that she was hard to handle, difficult or whatever. So to me, when
She's
when
extra.
Huh? What'd you say? What did you say, Amy?
She's extra.
Yeah, very much so. So it's like
Rachel.
when when I finally figured out who H was gonna be, I was like, okay, in these instances where Rachel would have this flash of huge personality, why not have a character to acknowledge it, but just be amused by it and not be put off or anything, and have Rachel not know what to do with that, or maybe even be drawn to it, you know, because she's very much drawn to H, and she hasn't really figured out why yet, but it's just there, and she's just like, and I think as it goes along, she is gonna figure out, you know, okay, she doesn't act like, you know, act toward me like most people would, you know, as you notice, like even her coworkers kind of give her a wide berth sometimes. I mean, you know, she can be friendly, but I think they somehow don't know how to take her. She is a great person, but she can fill a whole room, you know, and
Yeah.
I don't think, well, you know, everybody knows somebody like that where, you know, it's just like some people are like, oh, I don't, you know, I'm intimidated by her because she seems, you know, so big and so confident. And, you know, so I wanted to show kind of both sides of that, where you know, her boss thinks he knows how to handle her. Her coworkers are kind of like, hi, and you know, still kind of like this. But H is just like, huh, you know, like, okay, you know, I'm gonna laugh at you, you know, I got you figured out, and you know, all that. So I mean, to date, with what I have planned for the book, um, if it goes the way I want it to, or the way it's supposed to, that I have, that they've kind of put together for me, I think it's probably going to be one of the best books I've written. And I,
It's
and,
certainly it's certainly looking like
Now,
that.
yeah,
I'm going to say for those who don't know yet
hmm,
that in this book with Rachel, you have decided to create H as non-binary
yes,
or gender fluid.
yes,
And so she presents, well, H presents in different ways.
hmm,
And one of the things that I've loved so far is that it doesn't matter how H presents, Rachel's still turned on by her.
she is. But see,
Yeah.
I think H has such a history that, you know, she's putting her baggage on Rachel. And
Yes.
obviously, as it goes on, I already have in my head how Rachel's going to remedy that, you know, and kind
Good.
of turn that around. You know, of course, there's going to be a discussion, but being the people who they are, it's going to have to go past that discussion. Action speaks
The
louder than
other
words
thing
sometimes.
the other thing I think that you did really well with creating H and how they match is the fact that Rachel is so big on variety and new experiences and doing
Mm-hmm.
something other than the norm all the time. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that having H be someone who presents differently when she feels differently, or, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, is it they when they feel differently?
No,
um
she is
No,
she or
or he.
he. Yeah,
or he.
there is
Okay,
no they. So it's like,
right, okay.
yeah, so, yeah.
So when H feels masculine, he's a he, and
Mhm.
when he feels feminine, then she's a
Yeah,
she. But
yeah,
I think that having someone who changes like that based on how they feel inside, that Rachel is going to be constantly intrigued.
yes, yes, exactly.
I
And I
think
like,
that's what she needs.
yes, exactly. And I like the dynamic where H doesn't know that yet. You know, like I said, she has her own baggage. So, you know, like I think after the last sex scene or something, was it the last? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she made that assumption that, you know, oh, you always show up, you know, and want me, you know, when I look like this.
When I'm masculine. When
Yeah.
I'm masculine.
Yeah. And, you know, and Rachel's like, No, I never, it was coincidental, in her head, but
It's her insecurity speaking.
yes, exactly. And that's what you said. Don't take your insecurities out on me. I mean, I didn't do anything, so
Amy used two words. She said non-binary and gender fluid. I
mhm.
think it's more gender fluid.
Yeah, she's by gender. So, I mean, so it's the male or just the female. And, it was what I've read and talked to Mimi about, she told me, she was like, yes, she was like, I could see that for this character. And I was like, okay, because I wanted to, I didn't want to feel like I was going down the wrong road there, and like I said, the main thing is I wanted to be authentic, and kind of exploring something that's not really new to me, but new enough, in writing it to to kind of, I guess you could say it kind of opens things up to a whole new audience as well. And as you guys know, I was kind of worried about that, but then I was just like, oh, fuck it. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and people are gonna say what they're gonna say. So at this point, they've done it with every book I've written. So it is what it is.
I want to touch on that briefly because it seems to me progressing through your books that
Mhm.
it's almost like they just keep getting more real or gritty or and it's they're dealing with real emotions, and that means
Mhm.
sometimes they're negative, and they're
Mhm.
dealing with real family situations, and that includes not only the fights, but also the ones that are love and they're tight and they're
Mhm.
there for each other. And I know that you've gotten flack for it before for the swearing, but
Mhm.
I mean, it just seems to me that that's a part of life,
It
especially for a
is.
lot of people.
It is.
And how do you keep it that real? But also, I want to know what was the reaction to Maya and the little smoke scene in Big Girl Pill,
Oh
because
Jesus.
I can just see a lot of people are just not down with.
They were not. I got a lot of flack about casual drug use, all the drinking, but I'm just, and I'm just like, I always say there's different types of readers. There's a reader that only reads surface. There's a careful reader, and then there's a reader that digs really deep, and tries to catch all the nuance. To me, careful readers and that third type are the ones who should and who mostly gravitate toward my book. I think because I think the surface readers kind of missed, these were women 21, 22 years old. I mean, they like to party. I mean, I wanted to show that. I mean, they like to go out and do things as opposed to somewhere a 35-year-old may go out every once in a while or whatever, but they were kind of fresh out of college. So, and I was like, okay, what did I do? I wasn't a partier or anything, but I was like, okay, I did drink quite a bit. Let's see, and I smoked a little bit. That was probably the only things I kind of gravitate toward. And I was like, and I kind of talked to a couple of, I was like, oh, they still do that. So I was like, that's universal, and so, but yeah, people had a lot of issue with that. They didn't quite grasp it, and they were just like, oh, I just can't stand the casual drug use. And I'm just like, it's pot. It's pot. It's not like they were snorting coke, or shooting up heroin, whatever. But if you remember in Crossing Lines and Blurred Lines, Kelly's brother had a drug problem. So I've always kind of dabbled in that kind of thing. And as for how it becomes more real, I don't know. I don't know.
But
And
you also touched on that in Bigger Pill because T and Maya
yes.
were a bit worried about his consumption. Like he
Mhm.
was getting
More
high
often, yeah.
more often, and they didn't have a problem with that. So
Mhm.
you showed both aspects, the
Exactly.
recreational and then the
Dependency, the possible
yes.
dependency that he was going toward. So yeah, even though he was going toward it, I don't think he was bad enough, where all he wanted to do was stay at home and get high all day. He didn't do that. He was still functional. So to me, since he was still functional and he finally opened up and talked about how he was feeling, um that kind of helped, okay, I still like weed, I mean, but I don't have to do it like that, so.
I think he was at a turning point in his life,
Hmm.
and it's fortunate that Maya was in town at
Hmm.
that time. If she had been
Exactly.
away for another 3 months, for example, uh,
Hmm.
maybe things would have taken a turn for the worse.
Yeah, I
Uh,
agree totally. I think he would have probably dropped out of school or flunked out of school or something like that, and he was almost done,
mhm.
so yeah, it was a possibility, definitely.
And
But
that was basically all the fact that because Maya hadn't been home,
hmm.
that he was unable to have those types of talks with Winston, the older brother.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so he kept all of that stuff bottled up, and the only way that he could deal with it was to get high. And
Exactly.
so that's why he was increasing. And when
Hmm.
she got home and he was able to let it out, and they
Hmm.
told him that they were starting to get worried, he was able to stop and say, you're right. I am
Hmm.
starting to do it too much,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
back off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really wanted to show that, I think because I had shown or had written about a full-blown addict before, I didn't want to go there with this one. I wanted someone in kind of in the middle, and someone using a drug that was not as damaging. I mean, it's damn, but you know what I mean. So so yeah, I mean,
Well, and
it seems
in
like
a lot of ways, I'd say marijuana is a lot less harmful than
yeah.
alcohol.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. Me, I can
Absolutely.
agree with that because it has so many medicinal, properties and everything. But yeah, I think when I think about it, Amy, uh, did you do drawing the line?
I think I did.
Did you do drawing the line, Anne?
I think you
Oh, sorry. We did the last cups and ducks with you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I'm
Drawing,
not good with
okay.
titles, so I don't know which one that was,
Okay,
but
that was the
the
one
last
with
one.
the in Atlanta. That was the one with the male best friend,
and
and
Danny.
yeah, Danny and Becca. Yeah. So to me, I don't know where when I wrote that book, that was when I finished it and kind of sit back from it, I was like, whoa, this is a pretty dense, emotional type thing, because you had someone who had gone through a terrible breakup. I mean, she just left, and then to, uh, explore their separate stories and have them come back together with those feelings. I mean, it would to me, those probably it was raw, it was painful at times, you know, to me, that was like when I was able to sit back and go like, wow, this is really real. This doesn't gloss over a breakup, and it doesn't do that whole touchy feely getting back together thing. It really susses it out to where the nastiness that can still be left over, because they really went at it, at times. And
Mhm.
some people didn't like that. They were just like, oh, it was a little bit too, this wasn't a second chance romance, whatever. But I
It
think
was.
it wasn't
It
the one
was.
it wasn't what they were used to, I think, but it very much was. But I
I
think,
think a lot of second chance romance does the thing where they get back to they meet each other years later and they're still in love with each other, and
yes,
all they feel is all these positive feelings about how they want to
yes,
get back together, and it's
exactly.
so improbable.
Lovely, and yeah, and everything. So to me, I think after getting that book out and realizing how realistic it was, I was just like, okay, I needed a break, first of all, which is where Big Girl Pill came from. Even though there was a lot of aspects of realism with family, and can't seem to stop that kind of thing. But it was a lot lighter than Drawing the
Yeah.
Line was.
Mhm.
But I think I agree with you, Amy. I think each book that I've written has a higher aspect of realism in it. And I think the one I'm working on now, or kind of working on, um, I think it does too. I mean, because I think it's a lot more raw than I think people are used to or going to expect from me, I guess you could say. Because
Well, honestly, though, if they've read any of your other books, then it's the type of book that they should expect from you,
you
because
think
you
so?
always
I don't
write
know.
deep. You always write deep. You always write the all of the characters' feelings, not just the good ones.
Hmm.
You explore the hard issues, and you're not afraid to. You don't shy away from the stuff that other romances may think don't belong in a romance.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's always been like that. And so if they pick up this new book and are surprised by that, then I don't know who they've been reading before.
This is true. This is true. But I guess maybe it's just to me. Maybe it's because I went from Drawing a Line to Big Girl Pill to this one. Um, to me, Big Girl Pill was a little bit of a departure, and then this one, to me, it feels like every book is very different once I start writing it. And to me, as I look back, as I was reading over, what I had written so far in the new book, and I was like, even the way the verbiage is kind of different. I mean, from the last book, but I think it has to be. Those are different people. So it's just interesting to go back, because I've been listening to audiobooks of my old, like I listen to Between the Lines, and I have them all the audiobooks. So when I go to work, I listen to them, and I'm just like, man, just go from here to here and just see how much different it is. And just the way I use language or stuff is very weird. I think it's a good thing, but it's just like, wow, I wrote that. I can't believe I wrote that. But yeah.
Would you ever consider becoming a full-time author?
Yes, I would love to buy my books, and I will do so. I will do so. But yeah, once I get a big enough catalog, I think I would love to be able to do that. I would love to, but I think I would probably need maybe 7 or 8 more books, I think, to even contemplate, doing something like that. I mean, because what is this, my 7th book I'm working on? So yeah, I think I will need a good round, like 15 or something, before I would be able. And as you guys know, I'm not a fast writer. So so not usually anyway. So it takes me a good 6 months, to write a book, so
What I see
my
so far is the third one I better for you. You write the first chapters very, very fast.
Uh-huh.
and then you stop. After
Mhm.
chapter 5 or 6, you stop.
Yeah.
And then we don't hear from you for a little while. So I guess you're waiting for your characters to tell you the rest of the
Yes,
story.
exactly.
And then when you
Exactly.
start again, it goes really fast. So
Uh-huh.
you always have that break, and you're right now in that break.
Yes, exactly. It's like I know exactly what's gonna happen. I have it in my head. It's just won't come out. And I'm just like, okay, I'm trying to like kind of encourage, like, come on. I know you know what's gonna happen. So why can't you just type it? But I think
I think I to tell you the truth, when I see that pattern, it's the first couple of chapters, 5, 6 chapters,
mhm,
is you know who these characters are as they introduce themselves to you.
mhm,
And then when you get to that point, it's like then it's you have to start getting deeper into who these characters are and where they're
mhm,
going. And it's like
mhm.
they've introduced themselves to you. Now you have to let them settle in so that you
Yes.
know them.
Yes, exactly. And so it's just like I have all these plans about how they're gonna deal with the quote unquote competition and deal with the boss. And so I have all that in my head, and how that's gonna, work out. And I think the next few chapters that's gonna work itself out because I don't want to give anything away, but that conflict right there is not something that could last the whole book. It's just not. It will be convoluted to try to drag that, along. So I think it's something that could be dealt with in the next, because we're on what chapter? Is it chapter 6 or something like that? I think I don't even remember. But I think in the next couple of chapters, that's gonna come to the head, so to speak. Um, to me, the bigger conflict is between those two. They are the bigger conflict, learning about each other. And I want to get to the point where they're not so antagonistic. You know, right now it's either sex or antagonism. So now I wanted to, I'm like, okay, they got to get past the antagonism, and the only way they can do that is to talk and to get to know each other. And I already had the plans on what's going to make that happen. So I know what's going to happen. So it's just like, oh, and I didn't know exactly until I wrote that last chapter. And I was like, oh, okay, I got it. I got it. Exactly. And I
So
was
you
like, this,
said the magic word. You just said the magic word for the people watching. You said the S word,
what?
which is sex.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so some people are like, "Oh, really? Okay.
Huh?
All the sex, you mean?
Uh-huh.
Okay." Uh, uh, we sort of left Big Girl Pill for a long time, and
Uh-huh.
I hope people who are listening are getting excited about the new book that you're writing.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about Rachel, and
Uh-huh.
and the other character is really interesting,
Uh-huh.
and so can't wait to read more about that.
Me too.
But it's also I mean this is a departure for you in that they're they're off the charts from the beginning. And
Uh-huh.
so the sex in this book started off the bat.
Yeah.
And that fits Rachel's to tell you the truth, but
Yeah.
it's like I think it's one of the first you've started out with sex, and my God, it was hot sex too.
It was. And I was kind of like, I wasn't gonna do that. But the more I thought about it, I was like, but this is Rachel. I mean, she would have no problem whatsoever. And that first chapter, how she woke up and how she wasn't shying away from the situation or anything. I love that. I love that. She just kind of just thanks. You know, and just laugh. And I was just like, I love that because it's just like in a lot of books that I've read, when you have that one night stand thing, there may be shame associated or, a little,
Awkwardness.
yeah, it was none of that. And I don't see her even tolerating that kind of, if H had have been awkward, I think Rachel would have said something about it. Or, something like, you didn't act this way last night. I mean, or something to that effect. But yeah, I think
Rachel knows what she wants, and she
yes,
has no problem going for it, and she doesn't feel
exactly.
bad about getting it.
No, she does not. She's very honest
If
about that. I mean, she's totally honest regardless. I mean, she's kind of she thinks what you see is what you get. Concerning her, but she's more than that, obviously. I mean, and I just feel that a character like H is the one that's going to bring that out in her to help her see you're more than that. I mean, kind of thing. So yeah.
So for those people watching, we already had a little glimpse of Nina and Maya in this new book.
Mhm.
Are they going to be
Yes.
present a lot? Do you want is Aunt Sarah going to show up at any moment, or is she
I
gone
don't know. I
forever?
don't think Sarah's gonna be in the new book. I think Nina is gonna be a bigger presence because Nina and Rachel are close. Now
Yeah.
she's close with Maya too. But Nina's gonna make a trip to come see Rachel later
No.
in the book. Maya is gonna be, because Maya travels, like Rachel does. So Maya's gonna be more phone call type, type thing. Just like H's friend, we're gonna get a lot of phone calls from her. But when H goes back home, we're gonna, meet her in person, so to speak. But overall, the personality that I'm creating with her is just through the phone calls. Hello, Finn. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. Oh my goodness. You're trying to make everybody think you're so sweet.
He needed love.
Trying to
Yes.
tell you that you've been taking too long.
Probably. But yeah, I think
You
Nina
ignored me too.
I know, right? Look. Okay. I think Nina
How can you say he's an asshole? Sorry.
well,
I need
just wait.
to be his no. Okay.
Just wait. He's
Look
like a
at
Sour
him.
Patch Kid. He's very sweet, like for a couple of minutes,
Okay.
and then he bites, or he tries to eat my hair,
Oh,
which is what he's doing right now.
but that's a lot of love, no?
No, get down. This is why we can't have nice things. Get down. So yeah, I think Nina's gonna have not a huge chunk, but I think as it goes later in the book, she's gonna return the favor in a way with how Rachel helped her. Because I
can
think
see that happening.
Yeah, because I think out of everybody right now, Nina is the one who knows Rachel best. They grew up together and everything. And like she used to be her babysitter, for God's sake. I mean, so so they know each other well. I mean, they got to know each other as adults, more when everything, with the marriage and with the engagement and everything. But yeah, I think that's the role that Nina's gonna play. So she's definitely gonna, and she's had her and Maya's had like a phone appearance, but yeah, I think it will make sense for Nina to have some appearances in the book and be that stability, I guess you could say, because she is stable right now. Not that Rachel isn't, but she's stable in the bigger picture of life, I guess you could say. So
Do you have a timetable?
Well,
Do you have an idea for when this book might come out?
I want to finish it. My intentions was to finish it by the end of Nano. That didn't happen. So I'm hoping that I can shake the writer's block loose and be finished with it by January, at least by the end of January, because I feel like I got a good chunk in. I think it's like maybe 100 pages or so is written, something like that. This is not, I don't see this being a very, very long book. It's probably going to be about the same length as Big Girl Pill, maybe like 250 or something like that, so I'm hoping if I get done with it by mid or end of January, gotta send it in. It takes about 6 weeks before I hit 4 to 6 weeks before I hear back. And then we start edits, which is about, so I would say late summer, mid to late summer.
Cool.
Yeah. If I finish it in, in the time that I have in mind, yeah, definitely. Because it's about, I would say 2.5 to 3 months of edits and, all the little stuff and all the little magic that goes in and everything. So yeah, I would say summer. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah. Hopefully.
So, this is your show, and this is our moderating of the book club. So I don't know who says thank you first, but I want to say thank you for playing along in the book club this month.
Well, thank you for playing along with Girl on Fire. Sorta, kinda.
Sorta, kinda.
Sorta, kinda.
Well, I wish I had the sauce, but I did play along.
Well, you know what? We'll have to do this again now.
Yes.
We'll have to do this again.
Most definitely. Maybe when your book comes out.
Yes, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, yeah, we'll have to do this again. But it's been fun, y'all. Yeah.
And that time, my sauce won't come in time.
Uh-huh. Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Are you doubting my story here?
I would just say,
no, I'm
not. To the grocery store and get something in.
I'll probably still have this one. It'll probably still be in my cupboard.
She doesn't like hot sauce either?
I told you we don't do hot sauce.
Really? That's sad. But do you guys do hot sauce at all at your house, Anne?
Oh yes. Yes, I do like it.
Okay.
So
what about your husband? Does he do the hot sauce and stuff too?
Yeah, more than I do.
Really?
See,
okay, yeah, there you go. There you go.
He'll bite into, yeah, he's better than I am.
Okay.
I have to, I don't have a problem with it at the moment. It's what happens the next day that I don't like. So, and I will not get into details.
See,
well, thank God I don't have those issues. Like I said,
all the mouth. Mine is all the mouth.
Oh
when it sits in the mouth and burns in the mouth, that's, and to tell you the truth, as much of a wuss as I am, I actually eat hotter stuff than Rose does. So
really,
yeah.
Wow. See, I love Thai food. I
do too, and I'll get it. She'll get Thai food with no spice and or no heat, and I at least get a 1, sometimes a 2.
I get a 5.
Yeah, no.
Whoa.
I get a 5. Yes, I love it. It's like when I'm finished eating, I'm like, oh, yes. I'm like, I love it. Oh, to me, it brings out the flavors with the lime and and all that stuff. It's perfect.
No, see, like with this sauce, that first taste that was so good with all the spices, and then the next second, I couldn't taste anything.
Well, yeah, you have the heat on the back end. Even though it starts with the habaneros, it's got all that other stuff in it. So you have the flavor, and then you have the heat on the back end. Now, with some of the sauces that I've tried before, some of them are just heat. Wow. And you don't get a lot of taste. I hate that. To me, it has to be all taste with the heat. That's what I like, So
it has to be a balance.
Yes, exactly. Why are you staring at me?
Because you're still not paying attention to him.
Obviously. So, but thank you guys for this special
you.
episode of Girl on Fire.
Thanks for
Very
inviting us.
Okay.
Aren't they all special though?
Well, I guess you could say that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. I'll see you next time.